Hello again, and a happy new year. Now I'm actually recording this before New Year, and it is morning, a late December morning, one of the most miserable days I've seen in a long time. And I'm hoping that as I send this to you, I will be somewhere in the sunshine with a nice bit of heat on holiday. But let's see how that goes. Anyway, I hope everybody had a good time. And for this video, I want to return to a theme I did a few months back. Rare groove icons. Last time I talked about Augie Johnson and Wayne Henderson at Home Productions. This time I want to talk about another artist, a classic soul artist who perhaps doesn't get as much recognition as he deserves. If you know your soul music, you'll know who he is, but I think a lot of people don't, and I think they should. I'm talking, of course, about Leroy Hutson. And I think this is his first solo album, Love Oh Love, early 70s, about 73 or something. What is it about Leroy that's so special? He has amazing production, really good songs, and a very distinctive sound, which is really epitomizes that kind of lush, sweet, soaked in strings. That kind of sound is very evocative of an era and is very popular, particularly in the rare groove circles and soul boys in general. They love Leroy Hutson, and his albums were always quite difficult to get. They were always quite rare, a lot of them. So when I first came across him was in the late 90s. It was the compilations really were the easiest way. So these 2 volumes of this compilation on, I think it's called Deep Beats, were really good and give you a really good overview of all of his solo albums, which are really great. Now he didn't really, so I'd recommend those. There are other compilations as well, which I'm sure are just as good, but that's really good. But since then, I've then gone slowly picking up his albums with the internet and the which is, I think, has got made more accessible a lot of previously hard to find records. It's been a lot easier, I have to say. And in some cases, he's one of those ones whose records, or some of his records, have actually got a bit cheaper. They used to be really, really expensive, and sometimes you can get some good deals. I certainly did on these. I didn't spend, on any of these Leroy Hutson albums, I didn't spend that much money. I mean, a bit, but not like big money. Anyway, so yeah, going back here, this is the first Leroy solo album. He was a member briefly of the Impressions, the Curtis Mayfield group, but I don't have that album, so can't show that one. So yeah, that's his first one. Then he did another one called The Man, which again I don't have. It's the only Leroy Hutson I don't have. Still on the lookout for that one. It's a shame because it's a really nice version of The Ghetto, which he co-wrote with Donny Hathaway. Donny Hathaway very famously recorded it himself, and the live version of that is great. This is perhaps the most famous Leroy album, Hudson, it's called, and I think this album gives you the best showcase of all of the joy of Leroy's music, all because of you. It's different, Lucky Fellow. There's so many great tunes on this one. I think this would be a great introduction to Leroy if you want to start with one of his albums. Give it a listen. And after Hudson, you obviously get Hudson II. Very nice album as well. Some really great ones, looking very cool on the back. Love the Feeling, Love to Hold You Close. Yeah, really good. See, a lot of his albums, he's really good for what do they call it? Deep cuts. You think you know all the albums and the big tunes on the album, but sometimes you'll find there's a little tune hiding there, which is absolutely fantastic. Here's a nice one as well. Feel the Spirit, looking very jazzy on the front there. Yeah, that's a nice one as well. And actually, that one's not too expensive. It turns up quite a lot. This one as well is quite easy to find, I find. This one's Closer to the Source. Really nice. Again, it's just that lush instrumentation, the strings, but there's groove, definitely groove going on, which is always worth looking out for. Now, Leroy's not just about his solo projects as well. He did a lot of work with other groups as well. So let's have a look at some of those. This group, the Natural Four, I think I've shown that record before. Lovely group. They actually cover some of Leroy's songs here, but that's really great. And I think this is an earlier album they did, again with Leroy. Really pleased to find this. This is a Japanese pressing of this one. Some really great stuff. Really classic rare groove stuff on this. So yeah, great cover as well there. Okay, for his next side project, I'm actually going to go back to this Feel the Spirit album, because here it's Leroy Hutson featuring the Free Spirit Symphony. And there are the members of the Free Spirit Symphony. And if I'm not mistaken, this gentleman here is, there's Leroy in the middle, but this is somebody called Arnold Blair. And he released a very sought after 45. I do not have an original copy because it's too expensive, but here's a very nice reissue from Universal Sounds, or Sounds of the Universe, and the tune is Trying to Get Next to You. Absolute rare groove classic. People talk about rare groove, this is one of those tunes which they will always mention. Very nice B-side on that one as well, kind of deep soul. I Won the Big Deal this time. Really good. And a few years back, they actually found some unreleased material from Arnold Blair, and Super Disco Edits. They put this out, finally made it home, which is very nice. They've kind of done a replica of the original Jamingo sleeve there. Really good. But sadly, Arnold Blair died in very tragic circumstances, but and he didn't really have much of a career after that, but he did have this song, and it's still very much played until today. So Trying to Get Next to You, I'll give you a bit of that.
Baby, it's no secret about the vibes that I have.
one more project that Leroy was involved in, The Voices of East Harlem. This is a reissue as well. This album does turn up, but it's quite expensive. And I think they've got another one that Leroy produced as well. Great album, this. I mean, The Voices of East Harlem are kind of like, not a choir exactly, but it's quite a big group of singers. So you get a lot of voices on here. But it's all produced by Leroy. And I think this album really stands out for me because the big track here, the opening track, Cashing In, really, really classic stuff. Last year, or actually no, that would have been 2000, that would have been the year before last now, I was lucky enough to see Leroy performing, looking very young in his 70 odd years, or maybe even nearly 80. And he did a great show, and he did all of his great songs, but he also did a bit of Cashing In and the Arnold Blair there. So it was a really good show, just showcasing a bit of him. Let's have some Voices of East Harlem. And I'll just finish off with a bit of late Leroy. Leroy never gets bad, really. There's Unforgettable from 1979, and this one, Paradise, from 1982, I think. Both really decent albums. This one is a lot more 80s, a lot more synth, but fantastic. Classy Lady, beautiful tune, nice and easy. Just a great, well-crafted soul tune, kind of slightly pop in its way, but really, really brilliant. And even though the production sound has changed by then, it's still got those key notes of Leroy. So he is definitely an icon of soul music and an icon of rare groove. And I think he perhaps doesn't have those killer tunes which everybody could instantly recognise in the way that maybe Curtis Mayfield or Marvin Gaye does. But I think once you know his music a bit, the classics are very, very classic. So I really do recommend, if you don't know him, checking him out. And if you do know him, have a look at the albums, because I think there's good stuff to find on all of those. And the side projects, the production jobs, really, really fantastic. Anyway, that was a bit of Leroy. Hope everybody's well. All the best for 2025. Until next time, all the best.